Ma'am, shall we start now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Good afternoon, all. On behalf of IOT Academy, I welcome you all for the 7th session of National Level FDP on the Art of Research. Let me introduce the resource person of today's session, Dr. S. Sriranjani Mokshagundam. She is the Faculty of Management, Sri Jagadguru Balagangadhara College of Management Studies, Bangalore. The qualifications include MBA and PhD in Management. Dr. S. Sriranjani is the great granddaughter of statesman Bharata Ratna Sir Mokshagundam Vishweshwaraya. She is working towards the advancement of the society by imparting knowledge. She is a faculty of management with over 8 years of experience in teaching and research. She has rendered her services as principal, professor, and research supervisor. She has attended various national and international academic programs. She has also presented and published noticeable number of articles and textbooks. She is also a certified soft skills trainer, life coach, and German language teacher. With this, I hand over the session to Dr. Sriranjani. Ma'am, please.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much. Hope I am audible and visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So, a warm welcome and good afternoon to one and all present here. On this 7 days national level FDP on the art of research. Today, probably, I hope this is the last day. And I'm presenting it on the plagiarism. What are the myths? What is the reality about plagiarism? And what are the free online tools available? So, very quickly, we shall move to this. First of all, let's see what do we mean by plagiarism and publication ethics. We shall have it just within the reference of the academic integrity. Right. Okay. First of all, when we speak something about, say, ethics, or even you can call it as moral philosophy, we mean that it is something which is involving the process of, say, systematizing, defending, or even we are recommending the concepts of what is right and what is wrong behavior. Say, for example, if we are considering the work ethic traits, how should we, what are the traits or ethic traits in the workplace? It could be your appearance or it could be your attendance, say character, attitude, your communication skills, teamwork, productivity, so many things. Similarly, when we speak about, say, ethical issues in religion, for example. So the issues addressed would be, say, the religious identity and authority, or even your personal and private matters, say marriage, family, and what is the quality or value of your life, and mainly the questions of what is right and wrong that I'm doing in my life. It could be the equality and difference, many kinds of, say, conflicts, violence, and so many global issues come into picture when we speak about the ethical issues, particularly in religion. Similarly, on the same grounds, when we want to speak something about, say, publication ethics. So we are trying to focus on the moral principles that authors must follow in their area of interest. So what should we do? How shall we maintain the publication ethics? One thing what we can do as the research scholars or the authors, the systematic investigation, basically, say, into the origin or into the sources, we can do that. So that what we are trying to do, we are trying to establish the facts and we are trying to reach the new conclusions through our work. We shall do the search of knowledge, especially through our aims or objectives, whatever we have for our study. And let's take up a systematic method of finding the solution to any particular problem under study. Let's try to bring out the novel concepts. Let's try to give a significant contribution which is based on, say, the any kind of reproducible or verifiable results. So henceforth we try to maintain the publication ethics. Right. So as a researcher, or while we are trying to publish as an author, what are the skills and abilities desired? Say, if I have to write something, if I want to publish something, first thing, I would be highly motivated. Many factors come into the picture. I should have some passion, right? I should have interest or enthusiasm, some kind of say problem solving skills, analytical skills, or definitely the in-depth understanding of what is the topic all about, right? What is my interest and what is it I try to understand. So I shall have the critical as well as independent thinking also. When we speak about the milestones in publication, before we get into plagiarism complete concept, let's understand its background first. So, when we speak about this word, particular word, milestone, or you can call it as a stages. For example, a milestone in a baby's life, small baby's life, it would be like when they learn how to walk, or say graduation. Graduation itself, it is a huge milestone in a young adult's life. Probably the invention of the railroad, it was like a milestone in the history of transportation itself. Through this, we understand reaching the next milestone. Probably after our PG, we would be doing a PhD. We are interested in to do more and more in-depth of research. So the next milestone in the success, it definitely requires hours of hard work, right? For that, what we will do when we just step into doing research? First thing is we will just check about our interest. From then we try to select our topic, whether it could be, if for example, if you are from management background, say it could be in finance, HR, banking, production, operation, anything. You try to select first of all your topic and you zero in on your title. Then what do? You try to explore the existing knowledge. What knowledge is already available on that particular topic? How do we do this? We try to do it through the extensive literature survey. Probably from these 6 days, you would have got some idea about how do we do the review of literature also. Just to give a glimpse of it, we can do something. We can begin by reading, say, textbooks or reference books about that particular topic, whatever we have chosen, or any kind of literary document that is available. So that what is that I'm trying to do as a researcher? I have stepped in. I just want to gain the basic knowledge on the topic of my interest. So I'm trying to explore the interesting topics. Then what do? I might find, say, some recent survey papers on these topics. Well, it is for my good understanding. Or I can even explore the special issues of journals and any kind of reading materials on these topics. Say I want to do something on, example, performance management. Definitely you would find some special issues of journals which is completely on that particular topic, for green banking, green HRM, anything, poverty in India, anything. We might be having some special issues of journals. You need to do background work. If you find out, say, some 10 papers, 15 papers, or 20 papers, articles of sets, you'll find it in that special issue journal. So you'll get to understand all the aspects or perspectives of the authors, whatever it was on that particular topic. In the meanwhile, as a researcher, what else you can do? You can try to attend few conferences on these topics, particular topics. Try to discuss and seek opinions of your peers, friends, or any research colleagues, or any other professional colleagues also. What else you can do? You can try to listen to more paper presentations of others in the similar area of interest. Try to find out, say, high impact journals, impact papers, and try to read them so that there will be some quality and you'll gain more and more knowledge. Or you can write, when you start with your ROL, review of literature, once you read some, say, 10, 12 articles, you can review a paper on the area of your topic, whatever is there. You can write a review paper basically. So you take all the ideas from all these 10 to 12 papers, you write it on your own. You'll come up with the new ideas and you're implementing it. Now the question is, next thing, you try to validate. See what all the questions have been answered. Whether all the open-ended questions, whatever you had given, whether they are legible, and try to rectify the mistakes, whatever has happened there. For this, what you will be doing, you try to choose a high-level problem. Some problem is already existing. I try to give a tentative solution. Probably it could be, say, after many failures, many steps of failures, no problem. Now what do? You formulate the hypothesis. You have a problem, you have a solution, tentative solution. Now try to conduct either theoretical or empirical analysis. Say empirical analysis means the data, whatever you have gathered by your experiments, original experiments, whatever you do, or it is simply based on your observations. Even that does, and that is your empirical analysis. Or even you can conduct the theoretical analysis. Say it analyzes and it tries to make some kind of connection between the empirical studies. So that what you are trying to do, you are trying to define or even advance a theoretical position. Thereby, after that, what you do, you try to apply the test of significance and do validation. So you check how accurately a method is measuring what it is actually intended to measure. After all these things, what do? You try to publish the outcomes. Especially, my suggestion is try to write it in a good, very good manner, so that you can publish the outcomes in a high quality journals, which is reasonably, which is having, say, good IF, impact factor. Or try to, as I told you in the previous slide itself, try to attend some conferences or try to present these papers there. Or even you can publish in the top journals, as I told you. So if you make probably good efforts to prepare a paper, you have good chances of acceptance. See, when you are trying to publish a paper, what will happen? There are like some typical parameters. What are there to judge a paper? Even I am a reviewer of, say, some 10 plus journals. What do we check for? What aspects do we check? What are the parameters we check? Probably the novelty of research. Say if you have taken some, say, succession planning, performance appraisal, anything. Since decades, so much of research has been done on that particular topic. Nothing is new. But we check in your paper, what is the new aspect that you have brought in? What is the novelty of your results? Is there any significance? Have you tried to give some clarity in your presentation, whatever you have done? So, some content you would have presented. And what are the outcomes? And these contents, are they supporting the claims, whatever you had previously made? Such and such hypothesis you would have formulated. Are they supporting each other? Is what we see. Then, when we speak about, say, some facts, before we just get into the plagiarism, I'll tell you, we have some facts for writing a particular paper. As a research scholar, what you do is try to be honest, truthful at least to yourselves, right? And try to give some kind of, say, accurate presentation of the findings or the work, whatever you have done. You need not have to falsify anything. Whatever you have done, try to present the same. See, the material, whatever you had used, the data, what you collected, the results, whatever you have got, try to save it for many years, several years, even after your publication. Try to preserve them. It is your asset as an author, as an academician. It is your asset. Please try to preserve them. Please, to follow the ethics, do not fabricate any kind of data or results. Whatever you have got, please present it unambiguously. No doubts, with full clarity, whatever you have got, your findings, results, please do not fabricate them. Try to reveal the full details of research as much as possible. And please be clear and simple in your writings. As far as possible, please be clear in doing anything. And before that, try to have some proper kind of formatting so that the reading becomes easy for the readers, or even for the journal editors, reviewers, or any other people in future, say, who wants to refer to your books or your articles, your reports, your theses. So please be clear and do proper formatting. Let there be good amount of explanation, say diagrams, tables, all these things. Try to put it on the same page. Probably when you have done your PG, while preparing your dissertations or your final projects, all these instructions you would have got, right? Labeling of graphs, proper font sizes in graphs, everything you would have got. After all these things, what do? You try to commercialize your product, or that is called your technology transfer, say your patents, IPR, anything. But while you do all these steps, when you take up all these steps, one major instruction is, what I can give is, try to stay away from plagiarism, right? Okay. So let's see what are the paradoxes in publication, or what are the ethical issues we are facing. It's very much prevalent in the society. We have been seeing it every day. Each and every day we have been facing this, especially in the academics. We have been seeing this. We see the data fabrication. It's again an ethical issue. So what do we mean by data fabrication? When we take up academic research or any kind of, say, scientific inquiry, data fabrication is nothing but you're trying to misrepresent the research results. This is the major ethical issue. Again, we see there is falsification. What do we mean by falsification? You're trying to manipulate either the research materials, whatever you have used, or whatever you have collected, or the equipment itself, or even the process, whatever you have been following. You are trying to manipulate everything. You are trying to change or omit the data, or even the results, whatever you have got. So that what is happening, the research is not accurately represented in the research record. So this is called the falsification. Then there is something called redundant publication. You would have heard of the word salami publishing. So it's very similar to that. What will happen? The researcher or the author, what he or she will do, one study they'll try to split it into several parts, and they try to submit into 2 or more journals. Or even this could happen in this way. Say the findings have always previously it has been published elsewhere. Now again, without proper cross-referencing, or without taking any permission of the previous author, or without justifying, you try to use it. That is called a redundant publication. There is also something called duplicate publication, or multiple publication. Even this redundant publication, it refers to the publishing the same intellectual material more than once. You have already submitted to one journal, again you are trying to submit it to some other journal. See, this duplicate publication, even the author can do, or once you write and give the copyright, even the publisher may do this. Yes, there are possibilities. See, if we take up the multiple submission, what will happen? You try to send your manuscript. Manuscript means something, whatever you write, that is not yet published. Your article, once it is published, it is called an article in the journal. So what do you try to do? You try to send your manuscript to more than one journal at a time. Why do people do this? The students, the research scholars, or the authors, why do they take up this kind of decision? Because they'll be hoping that at least anyone will publish my article. See, we do not have patience. We do not have time. We would be having some time frame. So what we will do, instead of submitting it to one journal and waiting for, say, 2 to 3 months, what I'll do, I'll just submit it to two or more than one journal. I'll try to submit it. I'll be hoping at least, if not him, the other journal will publish. If not that journal also, that third journal would publish my article. So have one thing in mind, you are not legally permitted to sign over the copyright for your work to more than one publisher at a time, right? So that is again a ethical issue. Then authorship order. So in many disciplines, in almost all the fields, what will happen? The author order, it indicates the magnitude of contribution. How much as an author? There could be 3 authors, 4 authors, depending upon the either it is ISBN textbook or any edited book, anything, or an article, simple article for a journal. Say it could be for UGC care listed, Scopus, any other indexing. What will happen? The author order, basically it indicates the magnitude of contribution, as I said. So who has contributed how much? So if I have contributed more than, say, 50%, I would be the first author, definitely, no doubt. What will happen with the first author? I'll try to add most value. And if at all there are 4 authors, say, the last author, he would be representing the, say, you can call it as the senior most, or predominantly you would be taking up the supervisory role. Now what will happen? In this model, when we have more than one author, disputes will obviously arise because it is regarding who merits the sole or shared first authorship. Usually we'll be having disputes. Again, it is an ethical issue, right? Then when we speak about the scientific misconduct, it is nothing but the violation of the say standard codes of, you can call it as scholarly conduct, and any kind of ethical behavior that arises, especially in the publication of you can call it as professional scientific research. So if you are violating all these codes, standard codes, then it is a scientific misconduct, right? What are all the other ethical issues? It could be conflict of interest. See, the conflict of interest in research, say it exists when, as an individual, I have preference, or say I have my own interests or obligations. Rather than my duties and responsibilities as a researcher, I have my some other preferences. So what will happen? Obviously, conflicts of interest would occur. These interests, it could be forced by somebody else. It could be actual, or it could be, say, potential. Sometimes what will happen? We try to perceive it. It is just our perception. Sometimes this conflict of interest also arises because there might be some kind of financial or non-financial benefits also. That's why what we try to do, we will be obligated to somebody else, or our interests will definitely vary. But as a researcher, what I was supposed to do, what were my duties and responsibilities, I did not take up. So again, this is a paradox. Again, it is a contradiction. You might have heard of, say, copyright agreements, copyright license agreement. It's nothing but a contract under which a copyright owner, say he or she, they'll allow another person, or you're permitting another company to use my copyrighted material. I give you permission so that you can reprint it, you can distribute it, or say for some period of time, we have this copyright agreement, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, any amount of specified amount of time, I permit you to use it, right? Okay. If you permit it for more than one person, again, there is ethical issues. The Committee of Publication Ethics, HOPE, what does it say? It's nothing but a non-profit organization. So its mission is, it tries to define the best practice in ethics of scholarly publishing. So through this, what we get, it is assisting the editors and publishers also to maintain some standards of publication ethics. When you are writing a paper, so what should be the quality of for selection of a paper? As I told you, the editors or even the reviewers of all the scholarly journals where you want to publish your article, they look for certain criteria before they select your paper, so that they try to include it or publish them in their journal. They check about the originality. Is this paper original, or is it plagiarized, or is it plagiarized to what extent? Okay. What is new about the subject that you have written, right? Is there any relevance about what you have written? And have you added something to the existing knowledge? Say, green HRM. Already from a few years, we have been seeing this topic. Green HRM, green banking, anything. If I have again written a paper on, say, green banking, is there any relevance? Have I written it properly? Have I added anything to the already existing knowledge from since decades? We check for that. Then research methodology. Are the conclusions and objectives what we took, are they valid? Is your paper properly structured? Is there some clarity? And are you maintaining the quality of the journal where you want to publish? All these things will be checked. And whether your paper is it sound, and some logical progression of argument, is it happening step by step or not? We check for that. And your currency of references. If you have taken it from some source, have you cited it properly? Have you mentioned them in your references is what definitely we see. And whether there is compliance to the editorial scope and objectives of the journal. Are you meeting the standards of the journal is what we check. Then it would be sent to the peer review process. Now, as a researcher, what you do, you try to conduct the study and you prepare your manuscript that is not yet published. Now, what do? You try to communicate your manuscript. I have prepared such and such a manuscript. My study is based on this. You try to communicate it to a particular journal where you want to get your paper published. Now, what will happen? The editor, they'll send your paper or your article for peer review, means expert review. Who are the experts in this field? They'll try to send it to them. So then what the reviewer does, he'll read the paper or the article that has been sent by you and they try to provide you the feedback. Now the reviewer's comments, they are communicated to the authors again, and this takes lot of time, probably more than a month. Not any journal would take less than a month to do complete all this process, right? Then you will be communicated about your article, whether it is rejected or you have to revise something, rework on it, and you have to resubmit it. Everything would be communicated to you as an author. If at all your paper or your article, it is meeting the standards of the journal, then definitely it would be published in the forthcoming issue. So till now we saw what all needs to be done to publish a good paper. Now this word, if we listen, obviously we'll be having some kind of negative mindset. Yes, definitely. Till now we saw how we should be honest, how we should be truthful to ourselves, how should we maintain ethics, and what we should not do. Now comes into picture this particular word. So in terms of research ethics, plagiarism is nothing but it involves, say, stealing content from the work of other writers. You are stealing it. It could be from other writers or any researchers, and you are trying to publish it as your own thing, own writing. So what do you try to do? If you are plagiarizing something, means you are using someone else's exact words or say someone else's ideas. You are not putting them, you are not trying to put them under the quotation marks, or you are not giving proper citation. You may also rearrange the words from the particular source. Again, you are not giving proper citation. You are not telling that I have taken this thing, this particular work, or this particular phrase from such and such source. You are not revealing that. So this is your word plagiarism. And obviously, when we listen to this word plagiarism, definitely it is unethical. Why is it unethical? Because it's a form of theft, right? The person who is doing this, he or she would have taken the ideas or even words of others, and you're trying to present it as your own work. You're trying to pretend that it is my own work. But the thing is, you're stealing someone else's intellectual property, right? And the plagiarizer, whoever is practicing this kind of thing, subsequently he is getting benefited from this theft, because people believe that we cannot check each and every source that who has already worked on this. We cannot do that. So he is getting benefited from the theft. We think that he is the original author. Then what will happen? If at all you gain a degree, so which is evident of the holder's abilities, we think that the writer who has or the author who has done this, we think it is based on his ability and knowledge he has gained this degree. But what would have happened? Definitely that the student who has gained employment on the basis of the qualification is that they have not earned this. And again, there may be a risk to others, right? Yes. So see how papers are made. Like that. You're copying from somebody else. You're taking off their name, or you're stealing it from some online sources. Is this right? Definitely no. It is illegal and it is unethical. Okay, now let's understand the reasons. Why do people plagiarize? One thing, there is lack of enforcement. There are no proper protocols or rules. so that you tell that people should not plagiarize, right? The author, he might lack the time. He is not able to plan, right? That's why he is trying to plagiarize. Lack of time, lack of planning. Or I want to just influence somebody else, say my superior or my subordinates. I want to influence them. I want to show them off that I have published such and such paper in such and such journal. Okay. One thing, I might be lazy. Because of laziness, I do not know what needs to be done, and I am lazy and I do not do any kind of background study. Now I try to plagiarize. I try to steal from somebody else. Definitely, there is competition. This is one important factor. There is pressure from parents or even from your colleagues. So I try to plagiarize. Sometimes what will happen? I lack the knowledge. To produce a paper, I do not have knowledge. Okay. Then there is something called fear of failure. Yes. For example, if I don't publish such and such papers or some number of papers, probably I'm not eligible for promotion next year. The API score, I might not be able to meet it. What will I do? I then sense I would fail somewhere. What do I do? Somehow by hook or crook, I try to produce a paper, article, thesis, anything. So to just come out of this failure, I try to again practice plagiarism. That is again a wrong thing what you are doing. Pressures to publish. Yes, for career advancement. Just now I told, probably for your promotion or some kind of increment. I'm trying to plagiarize. All these factors will add to plagiarism. So yes, there are many forms of plagiarism, many types of plagiarism. Let's try to understand one by one slowly. So there is something called citation plagiarism. What do we mean by this? See, when one person, he fails to cite and credit similar previous work. Already some work has been done in a particular field. Now what I do, I take the content from that particular source, but somehow I'm failing to cite it. Now that is called a citation plagiarism. Right? Then there is how to avoid this. What can be done? See, even you try to do the multiple publications of the same or any kind of similar content, whatever you take from the source in different conferences or journals. Thereby, what you're trying to do, you're trying to do the violation of, say, copyright law or your intellectual property rights or any kind of digital right for that matter. And you basically are trying to include others' writings as your own writings. So this is a citation plagiarism. So there is something also called complete plagiarism. A piece of work you try to copy entirely, either from one or more sources. Copy paste. So from since 2 years, we have been online. Most of the times we'll be online because of the result of pandemic. We all know how to copy and paste, but everything that is available, the information, whatever is available from internet or any kind of, say, electronic journals, we just try to copy them and put it into our files, our own files. And we say that is basically my work. I have done it. Okay, word switch. What do we mean by that? You're trying to copy one sentence or say one paragraph into your assignment. What you will do? You'll try to change some few words in between and you present it as it is my work, my own work. Still, if you do word switch also, it will be considered as plagiarism. Self-plagiarism. Yeah, the word itself tells you. No need for further explanation also. It is when you try to reuse your previously written work or any kind of data. You are taking up a new assignment. What you do, you have previously written something else. Now you are not giving reference to it appropriately. You are not giving the reference, but again you yourself you are using it. You say that it is my work. After all, it is my work. I have already done it. But still, self-plagiarism is also unethical. We have style plagiarism. What do they mean by that? See, here, the words what we use may be different, but the way the topic I try to explain, or the order, or the structure in which my ideas have been listed 1, 2, 3, 4 through your headings, subheadings, everything, it is same like copying the other, say, other author's path, what he was reasoning or what he has explained. Same thing, same style, but I have just manipulated the words. I have just changed the words. Even then, it is unethical. So that is called a style plagiarism. Then idea plagiarism. Yes, even this word, it is self-explanatory. It tells you if you repeat one of the original ideas without revealing that another person is my source, you are now committing idea plagiarism. What do we mean by metaphor plagiarism? Here, what a writer does, he takes a unique or some creative metaphor, whatever the say original author he had used. You are not trying to give him any credit. See, I might, or the researcher or the author, he might be using the original words. He might not copy the same original words. But the comparison what the original author had used, we will call it as metaphor. You must be knowing the English word where we use for comparison. You are trying to reuse it. So that is your metaphor plagiarism. Then thoroughgoing plagiarism. You are trying to copy everything from one or more sources. Because it is again plagiarism because there is no originality at all in this concept or in your paper, whatever you are trying to publish. You are just trying to lift the ideas of others and you are trying to frame it in your own words. See, if we use about something about a topic and you are supporting it with borrowed materials, you are giving proper references and quotations, then these kinds of plagiarism can be avoided. And nothing more is left to explain about the online plagiarism. Copy, paste. Whatever we see, we tell it is ours. Right? Okay. So, yes, there are many plagiarism myths, what we still believe. Say whether you are in classroom or in the workplace or you're just posting something online. This concept of plagiarism is something that we do not want to discuss. We don't like to discuss at all. Because everything around plagiarism, it shows some kind of negativity. So what is happening? This lack of conversation about the plagiarism, it is leading to series of myths. Or you can call it as some kind of misunderstandings. We really do not know what actually plagiarism means. We have some kind of misconceptions in our mind. Thereby what is happening, since we are not speaking about it, we are not trying to discuss, we are not liking to discuss anything about it. It is leading that more and more people are committing the acts of plagiarism, but often it might be unintentional. Excuse me. Though still it is called plagiarism. So what are the myths? People think that plagiarism checkers can spot plagiarism. See, try to understand the plagiarism detection tools. They are no doubt they are extremely powerful, but their name itself is something of a misnomer, or you can call it as inaccurate. Plagiarism detection software does not actually detect plagiarism, but rather they spot and highlight the duplicated text. Somewhere it would have already been used. The plagiarism checkers, it will highlight that duplicated text only. So depending on the tool, whatever you are using, it just makes some effort to not highlight properly cited text will not be highlighted. It tries to ignore the content that is used in quotations. But all any tool can do is, it will find passages that were used first somewhere else it has already been used. It tries to find it and it will just highlight them. So this copying is often not plagiarism at all, because the duplicate text is cited and probably by say some kind of pure coincidence, or it is just something like common phrasing. These kinds of say plagiarism detection tools, they are great, helping one determine if the work is plagiarized or not. But still what we feel is they require a human being to make the determination about what is and what is not plagiarism, right? Okay. Then the second myth would be data spinners can help. So while we are taking it in the same vein, many people, they believe that the content they get from a data spinner tool. You take some content, you put it on the data spinner tool. What will happen? It will change most of the words, structure, everything. It would change. Now, people think that when we put our data inside this data spinner tool, it won't be highlighted if checked by any kind of plagiarism checker. But the fact is, you should keep in mind that the advent of, say, modern plagiarism checkers, the very own task of these checkers is to grab the duplication in writing, right? Moreover, the text, whatever you receive from these kind of data spinning tools, what would have happened is, mainly it would disturb the structure, whatever you have presented. False use of grammar, yes, many a times this happens through these kind of tools. Or say, inappropriate vocabulary. Now, you are creating with these kind of tools, data spinning tools, you are trying to make your own work more suspicious. The reader, whoever reads it, we can easily find out that the content, it is not written by any writer, but it is obviously created with some kind of artificial intelligence tool. We understand that because there is disturbed structure, as I told you. False use of grammar, no punctuation marks, inappropriate vocabulary. Obviously, don't we know that how, if a human intervention is there, can't we make out whether somebody has written or it is created with some other kind of, say, without human intervention, AI tools? Definitely we can make out. Okay. People think that plagiarism is all about percentage. It is also a related myth. Many believe that if there is more than certain percentage of work and it comes back as copied, then it is only plagiarism. Whether it could be 5%, 10% or some other amount. The general idea is that there is a hard limit on how much a paper can match and not be plagiarism. Because see, the problem is that, as stated above, just now I told you, the plagiarism detection tools, they don't detect plagiarism matching text. And they say it is not necessarily a sign of plagiarism. See, it's also possible to have a work that has significant amount of copied text. But if everything is properly cited, and then we call it as completely ethical and there is no plagiarism. But try to understand, on the other hand, even if just one sentence or two sentences, you would have copied exact wordings and you have not cited it, you have not cited the source, and you have not given proper credit to the author. Still, that is called a plagiarism, right? Okay. If you rewrite, it's not plagiarism. Is that true? Definitely no. So many people believe that the easiest way to avoid plagiarism is to simply rewrite something and restate everything that is in your paper. You are trying to restate it, but the idea is same. This does not work. So if you rewrite, it's not plagiarism. It's again a myth. Not only can say many plagiarism detection tools, they are able to spot the rewritten text. Because see, it's almost impossible to rewrite a lengthy work. If you have say 22 pages of an article, can you rewrite everything, each and every word? And can you completely avoid the detection from these kind of tools? No, you cannot make the work any less plagiarized. That is not possible. Why I'm saying this is, the reason is that the plagiarism is not only about the words, but even about the ideas. You might change the wordings, but the ideas and the information remains the same, right? If you copy someone else's work, what will happen? Even without using any of their words, you have changed everything, but you're not providing any attribution, no credit, right? It might not be, you cannot call it as like, say, copyright infringement, but still it is plagiarism. Not about the words, ideas, information, everything you have copied. So yes, you can't plagiarize things not in copyright. See, speaking of the overlap between the copyright and plagiarism, what will happen? Some of them, they believe that it is perfectly acceptable to reuse without any credit or attribution. Any text that is present in the public domain, I can access it. Is that true? No, it's not. See, while a work which is being in the public domain, It does not mean that you can use it without the fear of copyright infringement. You shall not think that it has nothing to do with plagiarism. You cannot use anything and you cannot say that it is my work. Anything that is in a public domain, you cannot use that. See, what will happen if you take credit for the work of another person and you're not giving any kind of acknowledgement? It is plagiarism. Whether that person, he or she lived 100 years ago, or they are still alive today. But if you use their work without proper credit, it is still considered as plagiarism. You need to state the source of words, the information, or the idea from where you have been inspired, no matter when and where they were created. Right? Okay. The rules of plagiarism are universal. Yes, this is like a widespread belief that something simply is or it is not a plagiarism. And you say that the rules for the content reuse or even for the citation, they are universal. But in reality, what will happen if you just take an example? Say the student in a classroom, whatever the rules we try to put them, the protocols, whatever we define, are really different from the rules of a, say, some novelist who is writing or who will encounter while writing a book. Likewise, there is not all the rules are universal for writing and publication. The standards of a journalist is different from the say that of a lawyer who is writing. So as a result, you need to be mindful of the field where you are working in and decide whether or not to credit is adequate or not, and whether what you are doing is plagiarism or not. And most of the times what will happen is this also, whether we consider some part of thing as plagiarism or not, it also depends on, say, cultural norms or audience to whom we are trying to cater that our work. And many more factors are also, they also play critical role in deciding whether some work is plagiarized work or not. One more myth is the plagiarizers, they say that no one can find it. And this is the biggest misconception, because most of them, they copy the content from somebody else and they say that the plagiarism can't be found. But it proves to be a great trap. Especially, see, when a person, he or she is desperate and needs to submit some work in a limited time. I have to submit my thesis within this month. Or say one article has to be published in my name within 15 days. Now I try to plagiarize and I try to submit it somewhere. Now, what I do, I think as a plagiarist, I think while copying others' work, I'll not be, or whatever piracy I'm doing, nobody can know about this. But the thing is, if I'm plagiarizing something, I'm staying in a heaven of fools until I'm caught. See, then what will happen? This researchers or the author's life or career or even their fame, it gets into dust. One small mistake, even though the person has done 99 positive things, one negative thing, his career is smashed. So the thing is, you must understand that an advanced plagiarism checker can even find the duplication in, say, few instances at least. Moreover, these kinds of, say, plagiarism detectors, they are smart enough that they can track down the source of any text, that too instantly within a few minutes, it will detect it like that. What we think, using someone else's work or words isn't stealing at all. We say a few words or some work, I have taken it from somebody else. This is the most used phrase from all the plagiarists. So they say that plagiarism won't hurt anyone. What such kind of people must realize is that the author of the article, the original article, or any kind of textual information, he or she would have invested lots and lots of time in doing their research and preparing the content. And have one thing in mind, that using their creations without any permission from them, from the source, it would be really disrespectful. And furthermore, what will happen? The information duplicated from any kind of, say, unreliable sources. You do not know the source, but still you are using it as your own information. It might include, say, false data. what you are doing is you are simply spreading the wrong information that is surely causing some kind of major consequences, right? And data on the web can be used freely. Is that so? Whatever is there on the website, is it everything? Does it belong to me? No. But the thing is, many individuals, they consider that since this internet is a free platform to everybody and it is open access to everyone, it is not essential to cite this data. The data, whatever I have been using, it's not essential to cite it. No need to give credit to the source. Still, there are some norms and regulations attached to the use of web information also. The first and foremost thing people must know is that the information on the web is the sole property of its creator who has created that. It is his or her sole property, and no one is eligible to use it without any kind of authorization. Okay, if people do so, what will happen? If you am not giving proper credit, it to definitely end up in facing some or the other kind of legal consequences from its original writer. There is one more myth that self-plagiarism is legal. I already discussed in say 2 slides back that self-plagiarism, it's really unethical. It is again though it is also a type of plagiarism, it is again a paradox or an unethical issue. So many writers, they have made it a tradition of reusing their own published work or any written work. They are using it for their fresh article. Again, this is some kind of plagiarism and it's a clear example of self-plagiarism. What do these plagiarists do? They claim that they are restating their own information. Yes, I am restating my own information. Previously, that was my copyright. Now, even I am using that. I am trying to restate it. And nothing else I have taken from others' work. That's why I am arguing that it doesn't fall under plagiarism at all. But this statement is again completely wrong. Even the duplication of your own published work is considered as plagiarism only. You are stealing it from some other source. You may have to bear the penalties for even committing the self-plagiarism like any other type of plagiarism. Please have that in mind. And one more myth is plagiarism is mostly a problem amongst students and not professionals. Definitely not. See, it's always tempting to associate plagiarism like we say that it is a mistake that is being made by young or inexperienced academics who are probably still in their UG, PG or PhD. But the truth is that plagiarism is a problem at all levels of academia. It also includes professional researchers. See, way back in 2008 itself, the problem of professional plagiarism, it became so bad that Singapore Medical Journal and one more journal, the Medical Journal of Malaysia, they told that in 2008, they published a joint statement. They tried to warn the researchers against submitting the plagiarized works. So, students do not have any sole ownership of the plagiarism. And it is definitely an academic issue that is growing both in and out of the classroom. So, it's both professional and it is even in the student, amongst the students also. Now, let's see what are the facts that we should know about plagiarism. Till now, we saw what are the many kinds of myths or misconceptions about plagiarism. So, tools detecting plagiarism are everywhere. For example, the text, whatever you try to give. If if your text, say, does look like that you have copied it from somewhere else, then definitely you could be accused of having a plagiarized content. Now, the best practice is to avoid such cases as far as possible, right? And the present technology of internet, it has made it very convenient and simple. Even as a student, you need not have to rely on your instructor so that he will find out and say that your essay is plagiarized. There are so many tools that are free and easy to use. So such plagiarism checker tools can be used by anyone. And limitations of free plagiarism checker. Yes, these plagiarism checker softwares, tools, everything, they have their own limitations. These kinds of checkers, they do not detect all the plagiarism, right? And when we are using these kinds of tools, softwares, what will happen? There is a lot of advertising content on the website that the users have to deal with. Yes, in between you will be getting that. It would crop up like that. And the biggest drawback is the word limit when we are using these kinds of softwares. So is plagiarism illegal? Definitely it is. And it is not accepted by educational institutes as well as even in your blogging community. It harms the reputation of the owner of the text. It's not that it's the matter of life and death, but really there would be some serious consequences if you are using it. Yes, plagiarism is not always about the text. We have been till now we have been talking so many things about the detecting textual plagiarism, but still plagiarism is not only always about text. It could be in the image format, table, or any kind of graphical content. Say for example, someone else, the plagiarizer, can use my data which is in text format. He can convert it into table or figure format. I do not know how my work is being stolen. So there is no limitation in stealing. If you are dealing with the text, then you must be careful about this kind of plagiarism as well. Yes, there are quite a lot of societal effects are also there on plagiarism. If you are a writer and you write to make a name out of writing, then plagiarism, it will seriously damage your reputation. So please do not steal the ideas from any other sources. Instead, try to take some inspiration from them and write it in your own words. Please do not copy it from somebody else, as it is always unethical. Plagiarism checker tools are not an alternative to the human analysis. It's many a times what will happen with these plagiarism tools, we seem that they are perfect, but it is never a replacement for human analysis. So these tools are not like alternatives for any kind of trained academic specialists who can detect plagiarism far better than these kinds of tools in say in any kind of academic file or document, anything, right? And old plagiarism cases are continuously appearing, right? For example, see the using photographs of someone else and naming them as yours. A few years back, a BBC investigation, it had revealed that many photographers, they were accused of using plagiarized photographs. So again, the old cases they are continuously appearing on the surface. More than 60% of university students admit to academic dishonesty. See, the numbers more than 60%. And according to International Center for Academic Integrity, ICAI, they try to check over, say, 840 students, and some MEC-CAB survey was done, and that revealed that at least 32% of UG students have cheated during their exam, and 2% of college students, they have asked some other person to complete their work, and they try to submit it as their own work. So this is what survey tells, and these are facts. In fact, there are many free online plagiarism detection tools. There are many websites on the internet on which the content has to be filtered so that the chances of plagiarism should definitely be checked. We are witnessing, say, the rapid expansion of IT information technology in present era. And so we see that plagiarism is increasing every second. Therefore, what is happening? Many software companies, they are developing some or the other software tools to check and limit this plagiarism. To name a few: Checker, Grammarly, Paper Ratter, Plagiarism, many of them. You all must have heard about this. And these are the anti-plagiarism tools. Say Plagiarism Checker, Authenticate, Turnitin. Most of us know about this. This is how Checker works. You take some content, copy it and paste there. It shows how much of your content is being plagiarized. It tries to highlight your text, copied or duplicated text. And this is plagiarism.net. This is how same instructions they would give. That you bring in your data, you put there, and you can check for the percentage of plagiarism. Dust ball plagiarism checker. Yes, again, this is one more. And there itself, they give the instructions. Cut and paste the student's paper or any kind of homework or assignment, whatever is there. So that, and then click on the check button. You'll understand how much it will detect how much of your data is being plagiarized. Plagiarismchecker.com. Even this. Article checker. Yes. www.articlechecker.com. Arpand homepage. Yes. So now we saw that there is a rapid growth of plagiarism everywhere in each and every field. So how shall we avoid plagiarism? The best way, as I said, we discussed in our first slide, just simply be honest and truthful. Whenever you use a source, please try to give acknowledgement, credit, wherever it is due, give it. Keep the track of sources. Yes, from where I have copied everything. You can write it down somewhere, or you can, when you have free softwares, you can use there. You can note everything there. Try to paraphrase or quote from your sources. Try to add some of your own ideas to that. Just don't use whatever the author has written, same wordings. Please do not use that. Try, once you read it, once you come across some paragraph that is useful to you, try to reframe it, paraphrase the same thing, and credit the original author as in-text citation as well as in a reference list also, such and such author, year, where it has been published, and what is the title of the paper. And please definitely use a plagiarism checker before you submit, because till now we discussed many free plagiarism checkers. There are some don'ts also, like while you are trying to publish your article, please do not go with fake impact factor or fake journal metrics. Don't call for papers everywhere. Once in a while, every day you would be getting some 15-20 mails, WhatsApp, Telegram. They call for papers. Please don't go with that. Fake peer review process or something. They make claims under the, say, indexing is PubMed, UGC Care, Scopus. No, without checking the authenticity, please do not publish it elsewhere. Right? It could be Web of Science, Elsevier, anything. Check the authenticity and then only go for publishing it. And please do be careful with, if I'm a writer, if I'm publishing something in my name, I would have not written even a single word. Some ghost author or writer would have written on behalf of me. There are professional writers and authors whom people can pay and get it written. And I can put my name. Surrogate authorship is there. Gift authorship is there. I try to, once I write a paper, I try to add the name of my spouse or friends, anybody as authors, though they have done zero work. There are anonymous authors we do not know, who are publishing with pseudonyms. We do not know about that also. So with this, what will happen? There is violation of copyright or digital right. Even you can call it as intellectual property rights. I already told you, it seems there is a mushroom growth of plagiarized documents which is available in the market today. And throughout the country, throughout the world, we have been seeing that. And this is reflecting the wave of, say, gross violation of copyright, digital right, or IPR, both in the form of, say, print and digital. Wherever we see, it covers all the journals, books, proceedings, theses, dissertations, projects, everything. So what's happening? Since we are affectionate of higher career or promotions from one post to another post, we try to do plagiarism. We try to plagiarize somebody else's works. For achieving this ambition, what is happening? UGC has also framed certain rules and regulations. It is in the form of awarding points. I already told you APIs. And when we check about the UGC regulations on minimum qualifications, say for appointment of teachers or any kind of academic staffs in universities and colleges, and the measures for maintenance of standards in higher education. All these things, what will happen? They are trying to amend it from time to time. Okay? But still, we see that maximum plagiarism is taking place amongst the academic society. Now, what would be the penalties or punishments for that? Public disclosure. They might warn you. UGC or the university might warn you, or if you have plagiarized something, they might award you zero credit for your work, no credit. Or sometimes they might withdraw your degree or honor. If you are getting funded from some research institute, loss of research funding would happen, loss of your professional cadre, stature, yes. And again, bad thing is degrade or demotion, right? Termination from employment, dismissal, expulsion, or even suspension would take place. Many legal actions against the individuals would be taken. And we have latest UGC guidelines for about plagiarism. Let's check what it is. So penalties as per UGC, according to it is on 23rd July 2018. So what are the penalties in case of plagiarism in submission of theses and dissertations? See, Institutional Academic Integrity Panel, IAIP, it will impose the penalty. It considers what is the severity of plagiarism. If it is level 0, it says similarities up to 10%. So it is just minor similarities, no penalty will be put on the researcher or whoever is writing, the writer's part. Level 1, there will be similarities, the content, from 10 to 40%. So you will be asked to submit a revised script within a stipulated time frame. And it is definitely not more than 6 months. If at all the similarities are between, say, 40 to 60%. So the student shall be debarred for submitting such kind of thesis or dissertation. And you are not allowed to submit a revised script, at least minimum for a period of 1 year, you are not allowed. Say level 3, if there are similarities above 60%, that the student's registration for the program shall only be cancelled. And again, if you see the penalties in case of plagiarism, especially in academic or research publications, till now we have discussed so many things about that. Now, level 0 means similarities up to 10%, again no penalty because they are like minor similarities. Something between 10 to 40%, you'll be asked to withdraw your manuscript because it is not yet published. They check that it is the plagiarism, the content is plagiarized and it is between 10 to 40%, and you have to withdraw your manuscript. Something between 40 to 60%, you are asked to withdraw your manuscript. You shall be denied a right to 1 annual increment, and you shall not be allowed to be a supervisor to any new masters, MPhil or PhD scholars, and that too for a minimum of period of 2 years. The level 3, the similarities are above 60%. You will be asked to withdraw your manuscript. You will be denied a right to 2 successive annual increments. You shall not be allowed to supervise anybody, all these masters, MPhil or PhD, at least for a period of 3 years. So see how costly is plagiarism, right? So this is one UGC regulation image. So since 2009, UGC has mandated the electronic submission for PhD thesis. So everything is available online, and they want to minimize the plagiarism. Now, how shall we prevent plagiarism? If you are preparing an article or a paper, please consult your guide or instructor. Try to plan your paper, have a proper framework about your paper. Try to take effective notes about what all you have written or what all you have reviewed. When in doubt, if you have some doubt that somebody has already used this, somebody has already written it, please try to cite those sources. Please try to acknowledge the previous writers and make it clear who has said what. Know how to paraphrase. Do not use the similar wordings, but try to paraphrase, reframe everything, and try to put in your own words about your understanding. Analyze and evaluate your sources, definitely. And please do adopt plagiarism detection softwares. So now finally, to just suggest something and to conclude, we all know that the technological advancement, it has made the job of every creator very easy. So it's very easy. Similarly, the job of copier is also very, very easy. And especially through this FDP and particularly in choosing this topic about plagiarism, we are just trying to attempt to highlight what is happening in our modern academic society, basically. And how is it we are seeing flood of literatures in every branch of knowledge. And how are literatures and other products, they are copied and claimed as one's own work. That too, it is done by the literate society, and it is very unfortunate. All these things are leading towards the violation of various kinds of rights, as we discussed till now. So, plagiarism is nothing but some kind of communicable disease, and this is, it is inherently complicated. This is illegal, and this is a punishable offense, and this is a rapidly growing problem for mainly academic and scholarly publications, and this needs to be immediately checked. Otherwise, this disease, it will certainly wipe out the academic society itself, because we will be having tons and tons of plagiarized works only. No original works can be seen. And what can we do? How can we avoid this? Is this can be checked only if, like elite society, it takes the moral responsibility of not allowing any other person also who is indulging in such kind of activities. And more important is that all the publishing houses of the world, all institutions, say associations, organizations, anybody for that matter, who are publishing books, journals, proceedings, anything, it could be in seminars, conferences, anywhere, they are basically, one thing what they can do is they shall not publish the books or papers without checking plagiarism. So with this itself, much amount of plagiarized content can be reduced, right? So if at all, let's hope for this. If our morality awakes, then we will not push ourselves to such kind of dreadful activities. So there are no such kind of, say, easy rules or guidelines when it comes to plagiarism. The only way what we can do is we can really understand and solve this issue, and we should try to discuss it about all these kinds of issues with the professionals, teachers, say administrators, even editors, supervisors, with everybody, and anyone who is actually in charge of compliance with ethical standards, and we should stay away from plagiarism. So thank you very much, and the floor is now open for queries. If you have any doubts,
Session
please.
is open for discussion now. You can post your questions in the chat box, or you can unmute and directly interact with the resource person. Thank you all. Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am. It was a wonderful presentation. Ma'am, one small doubt actually. Ma'am, what do you mean by ghostwriter? Can you elaborate on that? And you said we have to be careful about it. So how can we do that?
See, as an outsider, we cannot even know that ghostwriter means somebody else would have written for you. If you publish the same thing in your name, there is no means that by which we can even find them. But the thing what we can do is, if we really do some kind of background study, and if we understand the topic, we can at least minimize. Let somebody else not write for me. I myself, I can understand about the topic and I can write. So that is basically ghostwriting, ghostwriter.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Even
Thank
if
you.
you just check with some movie lyrics, songs, and everything, there will be ghostwriters.
Ma'am, even they have plagiarism issues.
Somebody else will put their name, that I am the lyricist, I am the musician. So they are basically ghostwriters. Somebody else would have done the work for you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, there is a question. How to check plagiarism?
Sorry, somebody said something. Voices were overlapping.
Ma'am, there is a question, ma'am. How to check plagiarism?
Sorry,
Check plagiarism.
your voice is not clear. You said plagiarism. What is it?
How to check plagiarism? How to check plagiarism?
How to check? Okay, you have many free. Till now we discussed some 10 plus free plagiarism detection tools. So you yourselves can find it out, or there will be pro versions also. People would have paid it, and you'll it highlights much more factors about the plagiarized content. You can pay them, and even you can check with that. Or else, if you just go to Google and if you check, there are n number of free plagiarism tools. Even I had mentioned some 10 to 12. You can go with that. You can put your content there. You can copy and paste. You can check. It shows how much percentage of your data or information has been copied, duplicated, basically.
Any more questions?
Somebody raised their hand. Miss, please.
Excuse me, madam. Can we ask the librarian to do that work for us, madam? Checking the plagiarism, the chief librarian or somebody who is there.
A librarian in the sense, your institute librarian.
Yes, ma'am.
Definitely, ma'am. It is very easy, and you yourself can do that.
Okay,
if you just go to Google and check for the free plagiarism tools or softwares available, or in your mobile sitting at your place, you yourself can check, madam.
Okay.
Try to put your content there inside. There will be instructions also. Please copy and paste your content and put just you can press it on the check button. I was explaining about some Ugc Checker or some other software in my slides also. There itself, the instructions were also mentioned.
Okay, ma'am. Thank
It's very easy.
Any more questions? Shall we wind up, ma'am? Shall we wind up, ma'am?
Sure, ma'am.
On behalf of IoT Academy, I thank Dr. Sriranjani ma'am for a very informative and detailed session. It was a very nice presentation, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for the very nice and beneficial presentation on plagiarism. I thank all the participants for joining the session. Thank you all. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this opportunity, and I thank all the participants for their time and energy. And especially, I want to thank IoT Academy for this opportunity. And Jayalakshmi, ma'am, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Kindly fill the feedback form using the link that has been posted in the chat box, and your certificates will be delivered through mail within tomorrow. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Can I leave the session, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.